and he was the one that was basically, he was a former Austin police officer too, and he was the one standing up for us.
So he was arguing with them. How did that go?
Well, I mean, every time they tried to scare him, he basically told them, don't try to intimidate me. I know the law, I know what's going on here, but yet, it's still intimidated HEB.
Get Brickell on. So HEB was there above him.
Yes.
And so HEB then turned to you and said, "This is the way it is."
Yeah, they said you need to follow these recommendations, or basically there'll be no show.
And the police and the BATF then smiled with pleasure.
Yes. And like I said, they taped this whole meeting. I don't know if that's something that they'll give you, but it was all taped.
Yeah, you need their open records to demand it. They'll claim it malfunctioned and lie. But my God, was the event center head, the former police officer, freaked out when you left?
No, he wasn't freaked out. He was just like, he just told me, I know that didn't go the way you wanted it to. When they called this meeting, I said I would go, but they didn't tell me what we were going to talk about. I didn't know what was about to happen. So basically, after they locked the doors and the start of the meeting, that's when they told me that, they got to the point where if I didn't follow these recommendations, I wasn't going to have a show. So after I already committed all my resources that I could towards advertising and everything else, it was either lose all that money and cancel it or try to recoup something and let the public know what was going on. So I chose to let the public know.
Well, you did the right thing, and we're going to stand beside you in this. Now, how did the BATFE guy tell you to write this? When did he do that? And
he didn't tell me to write it word for word. What he said was you might have something up there to notify the public what's going on. Because I told him, the reason I said that is because I told him, well, what's going to happen is everybody that comes in this show is going to think it's me. It's going to think it's the Texas Gun Show thing and think that I'm, flying in the face of freedom when it's not me at all.
Oh, it's even worse. They wanted to keep this secret.
Yeah. So basically then he said, well, you could write something saying that or I told him, well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write something saying, in accordance and in direction with Austin PD and ATF, this is why, this is happening this weekend. So that's the flyer that you're reading.
And he said, oh, that's good.
Yeah, basically he said, yeah, that will work. Because I asked him, I go, if I follow these recommendations, I go, are you going to pay for a full-page newspaper ad, saying that it wasn't my idea. I didn't do it willingly. It was under the threat of pressure of me, losing everything that I invested and losing my business there, that I complied with your recommendations for that weekend.
Well, this is an agency and police completely out of control. Let's talk to Kenneth in Indiana, a police officer. Kenneth, or Keith, your take on this.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for, acting on, being obedient to your convictions and getting this information out, and more power to your guests there as far as getting this lawsuit going. Hopefully we can sue the pants off of them and get that done. I just wanted to add, just encourage, listeners, and, it doesn't matter if you own firearms, if you're interested, if you're not interested, if the last thing that you wanted to see, but everyone needs to be involved with what's going on and stand up and fight, because you may next month want to buy a firearm to protect you and your family. And, being a police officer, knowing what's going on, I lived in a county that they had 2 deputies on graveyard shift, and they had a major state route going through. If you have a serious accident, they're going to be tied up. And if you have a burglar breaking into your home at that time, just think about what the response time is. Are you going to be able to protect you, your family, your property, your belongings? No. So,
well, sir, what do you think of them secretly just intimidating somebody into do this with no law behind them?
Well, it's wrong. It's totally illegal, but we see this going on in every facet of, our country. We have a Congress. We have members of Congress. We have our executive. We have our judiciary. We have judges making law, as they make decisions. It's going along everywhere. And,
Stay there, Keith.
You know,
Stay there, Keith. Stay there, and we're going to come back with our guest because I want him to hear what you have to say. And then Rick, Mike, Heather, John, and others with the different laws this is violating. I'm going to get Larry B. Craft, constitutional lawyer, on this. I mean, folks, this is outrageous. But what do we expect from the Austin police? I mean, they take blood without warrants at checkpoints. I mean, they're nuts. Darwin Boedeker, his family runs a little gun show in Texas, 2 shows a month. They buy radio time, they advertise it. Government comes and basically shuts their show down. No law, no nothing. Just like they take your property now without just compensation. The Republic is dying. You think I like going up against the BATF? You think I like going up against these people? I know who they are. They've gotten in my face when I've been at the gun show before, until I get back in theirs, and then they scatter. They're used to people wetting their pants, bowing down to them. Not me. I'm a good person. I don't do anything wrong. I fight tyranny. And we know this is tyranny. Going back to Kenneth and then Rick and everybody else. Kenneth, I mean, the more I hear of this story, the more wicked, the more sickening it gets. And to hear about the police when he walked up and said, look at my building, half empty. Is this what you wanted? And they smiled and said, no, we don't want to shut you down. We just want you to have registered gun sales. They want him to do something that isn't the law, and they're going to ruin him to do it. I mean, that is assault. That is financial assault, Keith. I keep calling you Kenneth.
It's totally criminal. And you know what they want. We all know what they want in the end. They're going to have a list, and they're going to come and take them when they grant the time that, you know, they want to do that. You know,
and they'll start with 50 cals first to make it sound reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. It's just like you've said before, the frog in the pot that they just slowly start heating up. And we don't notice that it's getting hot, but, you know, it's starting to boil, and we need to do something. Just going back to what I was saying again, yes, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, I mean, it is for, you know, personal protection of ourselves, our family, but again, tyranny. It is the, you know, that last line of defense to protect ourselves, to protect our freedoms, to protect our country, to protect our Constitution. And just to follow up on the story I was saying before, you know, protecting yourself, I'm a law enforcement officer, and I love the guys and gals I work with. The profession is great, but we're there to supplement the citizens.
And you're there to respond. You're there to enforce the law after a crime has been committed. Under federal and state statute, you have no liability to protect us because you can't.
Exactly. If something goes down, we need a handgun. We need a weapon to protect ourselves at that moment when our life is threatened. We may be killed within seconds. People think that calling 911 is a magic genie lamp, and the police officer, sheriff's deputy is going to appear there in seconds. It doesn't happen. Again, the officer may be across the county. They might be slowed down with bad weather. You know, police officers have to deal with vehicle problems and the weather and snow and rain, fog, all
Your
that stuff.
phone may be out. How many phone calls have we heard where the dispatch system's having problems, or the dispatcher doesn't take them seriously and they get killed? The average time's, 12 minutes for a 911 call?
Exactly. So, you know, we can't. Is the government going to have hire a bodyguard for every citizen in the country to protect ourselves at the moment that we need it? That's not going to happen. You know, we had founding fathers that guaranteed the God-given right. Our right to protect ourselves is God-given, but it's backed up by the Constitution to be guaranteed by the founding fathers and the Constitution that they gave us.
And Barack Obama and his crew of scum have no authorization to take our guns. Going back to Darwin Boedeker. Darwin, again, what do you think of my idea of not following this color of law intimidation? And then if they do take your show away from you, you've got lawsuits that are incredible. I mean, because it's going to kill your show anyways going along with this.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'll stand with you through it all and try to, you know, hopefully they'll get back to where, you know, shows used to be, where you actually enjoyed going to them, taking the family, enjoying the collection side of it, trying to find that one piece that you've been missing from your collection. And
well, I don't go to a lot of them anymore because I know it's crawling with feds and special local police. I like going to buy blow dart guns. I like buying those little bird bomb things because they're fun to shoot out in the country. You know, the things that run off birds, but not for bird, just to shoot them or to shoot them in the lake and watch them, you know, make a red flash at night. I mean, it's fun to go to the gun show and you know, buy camping gear or ammo. But I mean, now it's feds everywhere running. I mean, it's sick. Our tax money are paying for this. Anything else, Keith?
Yeah, and two more real quick things. The Senate Subcommittee of the Constitution in 1982 had an awesome report on the right to keep and bear arms. This is great. It's not too long, and it just touches.
I've read it before. Give people the title of it. We'll post it on Infowars.
It is awesome. It is awesome. And
give them the report name. I forget the Senate report.